how to connect to SQL Server via Power BI Desktop or using Power BI Desktop, how we can connect to the SQL Server and how to pull the data from the SQL Server. Okay, the data in the sense how to pull the table data from the SQL Server into Power BI Desktop. Now the question is why SQL Server? Why not other RDBMS software? Because it is Microsoft product and most of the customers they use the along with the Power BI they use SQL Server. Okay, those customers already purchased Microsoft SQL Server. They are having the Microsoft Power BI desktop also. Okay, and once you understand any specific RDBMS by creating the tables or creating or writing the SQL queries, obviously, right, you will be comfortable with any RDBMS because the syntax are a little bit different. Okay, not much difference. Okay, but the fundas are same. Okay, so now I'll just show you how to connect to SQL Server. Before that, as I told you, you need to first install the SQL Server. For that, you have to watch my video. I believe all of you install the SQL Server and SSMS. This is the order you need to install. First, you have to install SQL Server, and then only you need to install the SSMS. SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Services. Okay. 1 second. Where is that? So look, server. SSMS stands for SQL Management Studio. Sorry, SQL Server Management Studio. So I just launched the SQL Server Management. How to do that? Once you have installed the SQL Server successfully, and then you need to install the SQL Server Management Studio. Once you are done with that, press the window key, and then here you need to type the SQL Server Man. Look here, SQL. Just I typed SQL. I can see Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Why we need to use the Management Studio? So using Management Studio only, we are connecting to the SQL Server. The SQL Server Management Studio, what you are seeing currently, right? What you are seeing currently is, developer friendly. You don't have to write SQL query for everything. You don't have to be familiar with the syntax for creating table, index, or any objects. And also writing a simple queries, right? You don't have to be familiar with the SQL queries or syntaxes. Okay. And okay, so just all you need to do is just point and click it. It will, generate queries in most of the cases. Okay. But if you have to join more than one table, right, obviously you need to write queries. Okay. It's not that you don't have to write any queries. So it's something like low code. Okay. So you have to do less number of, coding here. Okay. Again, it depends on the project and everything, but for the beginner, it is really helpful. Okay, even for beginner or experienced people, it's very much helpful. It has a code completion facility. You don't have to type the entire command. Okay, so I just launch the SQL server. It will take some time to launch it. After a while, you will see something like this. It will show server type, database engine, server name, authentication. You don't have to make any changes here. Simply hit the connect button here. It will take for a while to connect to the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. But here, this is where we write the SQL queries, everything, create the tables, everything. But end of the day, all these tables, whatever it will get stored in your backend SQL Server only. Okay. I just write it for the sake of your understanding. To help you to understand in a very intuitive manner, I will just write it here quickly. So this is your SQL backend, okay? SQL server is also called as a backend, okay? Server. This is your SQL server. It's a software, okay? So you need to install it. That you can watch my video in case of any issues in installing, right? You just check with me. I believe all of you have installed in this batch, except one, I think so. So this is also called as a backend. backend. I'm not going to talk too much about the SQL Server. We have a separate session after completion of the Power BI desktop. We are going to discuss in depth, right? The step by step, the SQL Server, everything. Okay. So also called the backend. The front end for this one is the front end, FRONT. Okay, front end for this one is your SSMS. What you are seeing now, right, in the screen, that is called your SSMS. This one, okay, this is called your SSMS. Using SSMS, and we are connecting to the SQL Server. Okay, so all we are going to do is we are writing the SQL queries, creating the tables, loading the data, right? Writing SQL queries. Okay, and all the things, we are doing it via SSMS. Okay, the SSMS, what it does is it sends all our queries, right? It will send it back to your SQL Server, right? For example, if you create a table, that one will be sent here, and the table will get created. Okay, so for first thing is you need to install SQL, so this is mandatory, and then only you need to install the SSMS. But you can download both simultaneously. When installing it, make sure that you are first installing this one, and then you are going to install it. But be cautious. You need to watch my videos before you download install. Some students they install the wrong versions, and then they installed multiple, or different versions of the SQL Server that caused confusion. Finally, they landed up, reinstalling the Windows system itself. Okay. So using SSMS, what you are saying, the SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, this is where we write the SQL query. It's very developer friendly. Okay. And for that purpose, most of the people, they use SQL Server Management Studio. But um, we, in the real world scenario, we will be working with Azure SQL Server. Okay. Azure SQL Server. So even in that case, right, still many of them, they use SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. But all you need to do is, right, look here, you can see the connect button. You click on the, sorry, connect thing here. Next to that, you'll find the drop down. Click on the database engine. Here, you need to specify your cloud Azure SQL Server name. That's all. Okay. And then hit connect. Okay. And I think you need to make some more changes. That's all. Okay. That I will show you when I demonstrate how to connect SQL, Azure SQL Server later point in time, because it involves licensing cost, everything. Okay. I exhausted the 6 months free, free time or free duration. Okay. Free trial version. Okay. So this is the desktop, this is my SQL Server name. Okay. And this is my SQL Server Management Studio. I have used this tool to connect to this server. Okay, that's all. Okay, you don't have to worry. I want to see the SQL server and all. You don't have to worry. But all you need to do is make sure that the SQL server got installed successfully, and then only you need to install it. Once this one gets installed successfully, you will find all the things. Okay, when you click on the plus sign, you can expand the databases folder, and you can see all the databases that are available here. So all these database demo, tax assignments, right? All these databases, whatever you see, this is the one I created it explicitly. Apart from this, we have something called system databases. Here, don't ever go and do anything. Okay. These databases are meant for managing the SQL Server related metadata, all the things here. Okay. I just collapse it. We are not going to do anything. And you need to create a database here. And then in that database, you need to create the tables. But in the real world scenario, for example, once you get into a project, you don't have to create the database. That is not your job. Okay. It is there is someone called database administrator. The database administrators, they are the one responsible for creating the databases. Even the table creation also, they are the one responsible for creating the tables, index, all the objects. Okay. But for you to learn how to work with the SQL Server Management Studio or SQL Server, you have to create databases. Okay. For example, here I just clicked on the databases. I will show you how to create a database. So I just selected this database folder. Okay, and I'm going to right click on it. Here you will find the new database. Can you all see it? Yes. I'm going to click on the new database and wait for a few seconds. I'm going to say 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. 11. So this is one, retail, store in USA, 7-Eleven. Okay, let's say you are working in this project. Database name, I just mentioned it as 7-Eleven. Okay, this is the database name. What I did, I just clicked on this folder. So database, right? I selected these databases. I right clicked on it. And then I just hit the new databases thing, right? And then it took me to this window. And in this window, just next to the database name, I just typed the database name. Okay. Remember that you don't have to create database in once you get into a project. Okay, in the project or any software company. Okay, it is the responsible database administrator. But in your laptop, you have to create it to for the sake of learning. Okay. So next, simply close your eyes and hit the OK button. Just specify the database name and then hit the OK button. That's all, guys. It will take few seconds to create this database 7-Eleven. Sorry, spelling mistake. Look here, I just right click on it, or I say, look here, I just clicked on it once. Oh, wait, I just click on it. And then let's if I double click on it, it is getting expanded. I just right click on it and then rename it. And then 11. But if you have to rename the database name, everything from the SQL server, you need to know the commands, okay? Alter database name and all, okay? But here in the SQL Server Management Studio, just right click on it, rename. You have a lot of menu options, right? With these options, you can play. I just clicked on the rename, point and click, you can rename it. But if you have to do the same thing in the SQL Server, you have to write, the commands. You should know the syntax, alter database, rename the database name and the new name, everything. You should be knowing the syntax. If you make even a simple mistake, it will throw an error. Okay. But the SSMS, the software, what we are saying is it made our life pretty simple. Okay. Just point and, click, your job is done. Okay. I just renamed the database name as 7-Eleven. VAN was there. It was wrong. The spelling mistake, typo. I renamed it. So now, if you see here, a lot of folders are there. This folder I did not create it. By default, these folders will get created as soon as a database get created by you or someone else. Okay. Now, all we need to do is we need to create tables in this database called 7-Eleven. How do I create a table? You can, there are different ways you can create the tables. What I do is I just keep the cursor on top of this database name which we created, right click on it, and here what I am going to do is I'm going to select the task. I'm going to keep the cursor on top of the task. The moment when I kept the cursor on top of the task, I can see on the right side a lot of things here, right? So you have the import data. I'm going to import an Excel file data into this database called 7-Eleven. Now the question is, the data is already available in Excel file. Why should I load it here? The security. Okay, security. And also you can use the SQL queries to join multiple tables. And you can use the inner join, outer join, left join, all the things. Okay. But that is not, possible if you have multiple Excel files, and then without SQL. So that's a little bit difficult, right? So what I will do is I'll just redo it I'll redo it from the scratch. I have created a database. I want to load an Excel file. So let's my manager has given me the data in Excel file, but he wanted me to load that Excel file data into the newly created database. Okay. How do I load the Excel file data into this one? Right click on it, and then you will see something like the tasks. And then if you scroll down, you can see import data. Okay. I'm going to click on import data and wait for a few seconds. It will open up another window. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's why you need to have patience. Don't rush. So I thought, something went wrong, but we have to wait. It will take its own time. Ideally, they should, enable the load button, right? Until that one get displayed. So that's why people get confused. Look here. Now the wizard, this is called your SQL Server import and export wizard. We want to import. Export means, let's say you have created table in your SQL Server. That table data you want to share it with someone else. In that case, you can, do export. Import is load the data from Excel or any other file into your Power BI desktop. Okay, in this case, we are going to load the data from Microsoft Excel. So you need to tell the type of the data source. In this case, Microsoft Excel, where that file path is there. You need to specify the Excel file name and its associated path. So here, I'm going to click on the browse. Here in the D folder, we have something called DAT1. For example, in this case, I'm going to say the dim location dot XLS file. Okay, it is just dot XLS file. I'm going to hit open. Now we can see that the Excel file and the associated folder name also, right? The entire path, the Excel file name and its path also, it picked up automatically. And then the Excel version also it shows. Okay, and then first row as column name, this one by default got checked off. So next thing is, see when you tell, right? So if you want to go from one place to another place, let's say you are using a Uber app, right? So you need to tell what is the source and what is the destination, right? So the source is Excel file, and in this folder, this file is there. Okay, you don't specify the version, it automatically picks up based on the file that you load it here. Next, hit the next button, and then now you need to tell the destination where you wanted to load the Excel file data. Okay, so SQL Server native client 11.0. Okay, you can click on the drop down, and if you scroll down at the end, you will find the SQL Server native client 11.0, and it automatically picked up the server name. And then here the database, next to the data, you can see 7-Eleven. This is the one I created recently, right? If you click on the drop down, you can see other databases which I created it previously. Supposing you want to load the Excel file data into some other database, you need to select that specific database. In our case, we want to load the Excel file data into 7-Eleven database, which we created just now. And then I'm going to hit the next button. Copy data from one number. Okay, so this is the default settings. You don't have to change it. Click on next. When you click on next, you will see the sheet. So this is my Excel file, dim location. Not if you open Excel file, you will find the sheet one will be there. Okay, and here, right. So here you can rename this one. What I will do is, okay, if you double click on it, it'll open up something like this. Here you will see in the edit SQL, you can see the location key. What are the columns are there in this Excel sheet? Look at 2 columns are there. Okay. And what are the data types? It's all, text data type, n varchar and nullable, yes. And location key, location name, And then you can click on the edit SQL. Here you can specify the table name also. So the default table name was this sheet $1. Okay. And anyhow, I'm not going to do anything now. I'm going to hit OK now. And then you can click on the edit mappings. Okay. So this is, you can see here, when you click on the edit mappings, so in the Excel sheet, I have 2 columns. Okay. The column names are like this. And the destination is something like this. If you want to change the column name here for your table, you can change it. For example, if you double click on it, and if you want to leave a space here, you can leave it. Okay. I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to simply leave it as it is and preview. You can, if you want, you can preview what are the data are there in this table. Okay, BLR, Bangalore in the Excel file. Okay, I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to click on next and simply I just click on next and finish. I don't discuss so many things. You will get confused. Look here, 8 rows got transferred, right? Executing and 8 rows got transferred successfully. And you can see status as success and then click on close. If you want to filter, right, show successful actions, you can probably leave it. That is not related to the data filtering. Okay. Click on close, that's all. And now in this database, we have uploaded the dim location, right? Excel file data. So here I'm going to expand the tables folder to check whether the dim location, yes, dim location was not there, but sheet $1 is there. I just right click on it. I'm going to rename it here. I'm going to rename it with some meaningful name, dim location. So what is this dim location? Why should I give this name dim location? So when we read it out, we read it out as a location dimension. But when we give the name for these kind of tables, right? It's also called a lookup tables. We'll prefix it with dim. So this is the popular coding standard. Most of the projects they use it. Okay. Again, depends on the company, depends on the projects. Okay. The naming convention will differ. Okay. So here dim underscore location. They may be specified dim underscore location. Fine. So now I have renamed the table. Okay. And I just expand the columns folder to see in what columns got loaded here, location, all the things, everything. So we can see these two columns got created in this table, right? So, but in my operating system, it remains as a Excel file only. That Excel file got loaded successfully, the data, everything. Okay. Now I want to see the data. Right click on it, select top 1000 rows. Okay, click on it. That's all. You can see a query will get generated on the right side. This is where we write the SQL queries. Wait for a few seconds. Look here, did I write this SQL query? No, right? The query, all I did, I kept the cursor on top of this. So I just kept the cursor on top of it, right click on it, select top 1000 rows. That's all, guys. It created a query, and then the query got executed. The output of this query, you can see it here, right? So you can see the location key, location name, everything. And then when you click on the messages, you can see how many number of records got loaded and how much time it took to load this data. Okay, and the results is the output. When this query gets executed against this table, then it shows the data that got stored in this table. Understood? I just clear this off. Okay. So now similarly, right, I just go ahead and click on the 711, the database. Right click, I'm going to load another table, another file, tasks. And then if you scroll down, you will find the import data. I just clicked on it. And then here again, I'm going to specify it's an Excel file. I have another Excel file. I just go here and I say sales fact dot sales fact dot XLS. Okay. Sales fact dot XLS. See what happens, right? See the dot XLS is the older version of the Excel. Okay. Excel 97 2003. With dot XLS X, I have some issues in loading it. Okay. What you do is you double click on the Excel file and then save as you find something like save as option. You just save it as a dot XLS file. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to hit open now. File. You need to specify the file name and where that file located, right? So this file is located in my laptop D under this folder. Okay. That's all, guys. This is my Excel file location. Next, I need to load the Excel data into my SQL Server. Click on the drop down and scroll down SQL Server native client. That's all. I'm going to hit the next button. Close my eyes. I'm going to hit next. So before that, I could see that there are two sheets are there in this file. And then I'm going to select this one and then I'm going to do a preview and I want to double check. Okay, is this the data that I want to load it in my SQL Server? Yes, correct. Okay, and then I'm going to ignore the second one. I'm going to hit the next button, finish. Super, 93 rows got transferred. Okay, but the sheet name was NC sales. Okay, we need to rename the table name. Look here, now what happened, along with the dim location, the sales fact data should come here, but it is not appearing here. you need to click on the refresh icon. Most of them, they don't do it, and then they will, they will start scream it, okay? And I'm going to expand the tables now. Here you will find the NC sales rate. Actually, this is a sales fact table. I'm going to rename it. I just press enter. Yes, we are done. And I'm going to keep the cursor on, or right click on it. I'm going to select top 1000 rows. So now you understood, the why we are using the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So it generated this SQL query on our behalf. You don't have to write this big query. Okay. And here all the columns, everything got selected. What is DBO? DBO stands for database owner. Okay. You are the owner because you are the one created database, hence you are the owner. So what is the database name? 711. In that database, who is the owner? DBO. Database, you are the owner. And then what is the table name? In this database, you have the sales fact table. This query got generated, it got executed, the output you can see it here. Okay, now you might be thinking about, how do I find out how many number of records got loaded here? You can simply click on the messages. Here you will find the number of records that got loaded, or you can look at the extreme right bottom here. 93 rows got loaded, right? 93 rows got loaded in this table. Okay, and right, so since these data got loaded into the SQL Server database, in this case it's called 711, henceforth will be called as a table. It is no longer called as an Excel file. Like supposing you want to query one, you don't see all the columns, right? These are the, these columns, not relevant to you. It is not at all helpful. You can remove it and then just move this up, and then you can execute the query. It will work. You don't want to see. You can subset the columns. You can subset the rows. Okay. So here, this is how you can. So now what we do is, right, you want to check, you want to customize this query. You want to tailor make this query. For that, what I'll do is I'll just say, I want to select only the few records, not the entire 93 records. But remember one thing very clearly, 95 records and all in the fact table, nobody is going to use it. Okay, for the sake of example, I'm telling you. This fact table consists of huge volume of data. Okay. And here the quantity is greater than 5. Display all the records where the quantity, or transactions where the quantity is more than 5. I'm not interested in anything less than 5, quantity. Okay. So in that case, you need to customize it. Followed with the from clause. The from clause, you need to specify the table name. The where clause, you need to specify filtering condition. Here, I don't see all the records. Instead, based on this condition, I want to query the data. I just select everything. And just above this, you will find an icon, execute icon. Can you all see it? Sorry, not that one. The execute button here. Okay, once you customize your script, you can click on the execute button here. The query got executed now. And if you see here, the quantity column, right? So the more than 5. So those transactions where we sold the quantity more than 5, only those records got loaded. And then if you see the extreme right bottom, 37 rows contains the quantity that we sold more than 5 in it. That's all, guys. No more SQL, discussion. Okay, how to write query, all the thing that we will discuss it step by step as part of the SQL Server topic. So now you understood how to create a table, everything, right? Okay, what I'll do is I'll load one more table here. Import data. And here I'm going to select the Microsoft Excel, and again I'm going to load another file. Customer dimension table. Okay, I just hit open. Next, and here I need to select the destination. My destination is SQL Server, and then I native client. Okay, and the next, finish. 7 rows got transferred. I just closed it. Now that table or the Excel file which I loaded is not visible. I need to click on the refresh icon and expand the tables here. And here you will find the sheet one, right? So this is your dim customer, you know that. I'm going to rename it dim customer. Similarly, you can right click on it and then do this one. You'll see what are the columns are there, how many number of records are there, all the records, data, everything you can see it at the bottom here. Okay, we are done. So next, what we'll do is now we understood how to load an Excel file into SQL Server. Okay, using SSMS tool. Okay, first what we did, we created database and then we have loaded the Excel file data into this newly created database, and then we explored the the basic navigations, everything, right? Right. So now we have 3 tables available under this database. Next, what we need to do is, so I just copy this one. Right. So next, what we do is we go to the Power BI desktop. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the new here. Okay. Now my Power BI desktop got launched. I could see that the new report file, we can see that here. So now I wanted to load this SQL Server tables, which we created just now, dim locations is by dim customer into this Power BI desktop. How can I do that? I'm going to click on the drop down here and you can see the SQL Server. Click on it and then wait for a few seconds. And here you need to specify your SQL Server name and your database. It's an optional, but one way it is good if you specify the database name so that you can see only the specific database related information 711. Okay, and you need to you need to note down one thing very clearly. When it comes to SQL Server or Oracle database and all, you will find the data connectivity mode. What is data connectivity? There are 2 types of data connectivity, import and direct query, but the default one is import mode. Okay. So I'm going to simply select import now. I'm sorry, no, I just leave it. I'm not going to make any changes. I just go ahead with the default data connectivity mode called import. I'm going to hit OK now. It'll take some time. Let's wait for some time. Okay. Yeah, you need to specify the database name. Sorry, the SQL server name and then database name is optional. Okay, but the reason why I mentioned here, right? If you don't specify it, it will show all the databases. Okay, let's wait for some time. I don't know why it is. Yeah, it is still working. Let me do one thing. Okay, sorry, I mistakenly selected last thing direct query, right? It's too slow. Okay. Yes, here I can see all the tables that I created under 711. So currently we are in Power BI desktop, guys. Okay. So now we are looking at how to connect to the SQL Server database tables from Power BI desktop. Okay. What I'll do is I'm going to select dim customer and dim location. These 2 tables I want, are available in my SQL Server. I want to load these 2 tables in my Power BI desktop. Okay. I'm going to hit the load button. Wait for a few seconds. As usual, it will open up the preview window. But in this case, we are loading two tables, right? From the SQL server into for the desktop. So now I go to the data window. I'm going to click on the dim customer, dim location. Here you can see, but here in this case it was not showing the uh yeah. So customer dimension and location dimension. Let's go step by step. Okay, let's not jump. Okay, I have a mix of people here. Let's discuss one after the other. Okay, so you can see that I have selected the. I did not select. The default the connectivity mode was import. With that, I have imported these two tables data locally into my Power BI desktop. Look here, if I click on the table view, and if you want to see the customer dimension tables data, you can click on this one. You need to choose the appropriate uh, table here. Okay, you need to click on the appropriate table so that we can see the relevant data. Dim location consists of these two columns in the data, and customer dimension consists of these very number of columns and the associated data, right? Right. So next, what I will do is, so these two tables, the customer dimension and location dimension table data got loaded locally into my Power BI desktop from my SQL server. It's a copy, Xerox copy, okay? Next, what I'll do is I'm going to click on the get data. I'm going to click on the SQL server. And here I'm going to copy it because it's already there in my clipboard. And 711, right? 711.
ऑडिट क्वेरी में रिजॉल्व कर देंगे.
Temporal create. I mean, king data
This time I'm going to use the direct query.
Okay, भाई आपके तो critical हो गए सर.
So this is the default mode and this is the direct query, okay?
कॉल आ रही है.
Direct query mode, okay? I'm going to hit OK now. So already I have loaded these two tables into my Power BI desktop. This time I'm going to select the sales fact table. For this, I have used the direct query mode, right? So here I just want to check, all the table data are, okay, fine. I can see these columns. Okay, I'm going to hit the load button. Let's wait for a few more seconds for him to complete this. Yeah, it got loaded, right? It got loaded. On the right side, extreme right side, just when the data pane, we can see the sales fact table got loaded here. When I expand this one, I can see all the columns that belongs to this table. I can see that. Now I want to see the data here. Hence, I click on the table view. I'm going to click on the sales fact table, but here I could not see the data here. Why am I not able to see the data here? In this case, the data for the sales fact table were not loaded locally here. So what do you mean by locally? Okay. So in the previous case, I have used the default import connectivity mode. Okay, I just show you one more time, guys. Get data, SQL server, and you click on it. So apart from server name, database name, you will find the data connectivity mode. Here import and directory is there. All right, so the default one is import, and you right, so we specify the server and database name. So I use the import mode to load these two tables from my SQL server into my Power BI desktop, the customer dimension, location dimension. When it comes to sales fact table, what I did, I instead of using the default connect remote import, I explicitly selected the direct query mode. Right here, especially the server name and database name, direct query mode. When I selected the direct query mode, what happened? Here, I don't see any data yet. So this table cannot be shown because it is not in import mode. So it is in direct query mode, right? It is in direct query mode. Okay, what is direct query mode? So what happens is in this case, the Power BI allows us to connect to and interact with the data directly from the SQL server. The data for the sales fact table were not loaded locally. Instead, the data lives wherever it is, right? So here you see the sales fact table. I just show you here. This data is available in my SQL server. Why should I load it in my Power BI? So let's assume that this table has sales fact table has petabytes and above volume of data, or let's say why petabytes? Let's say you have 100,000 records on it. Or let's say you have 1 million records of it in this table. So loading the 1 million table from the SQL server into Power BI desktop, it takes longer time. Okay, unlike we have the SQL server also running in the same place where we have launched the Power BI desktop, right? In the real world scenario, what will happen in the project, in the real-time project, the server is available on cloud. You connect to the cloud. You just imagine if you import the table which has 1 million records locally into your Power BI desktop, it requires a lot of network bandwidth. It takes longer time to load it. Number one. Number two is you need to have that much space available in your local system. Even if you have space available, what will happen is it will consume that much of space, right, in your hard disk. It requires storage space. Hence, what they did smartly, let the data be there wherever it is. What I will do is whenever I need any data from this table, I will query it from my Power BI desktop. It's something like this. This is your Power BI desktop. In the case of direct query mode, this is your SQL Server database, right? SQL Server. So this is in the SQL Server. You have the 7-Eleven database. Okay. So here you have the tables like the team location, team customer, and so on. Sales fact, all the things. Since the data in this table are too huge, if you try to use the import mode, what will happen? It take longer time to load. And then even if, that is one flip side of using the import mode for the larger for the tables that have huge volume of data. Number two is it requires that much of space to store this data here. Already you have the SQL server. You store the huge volume of data here. Why you need to store the huge volume of data that is available here, again here, right? Duplicate. Why do you need to duplicate this one? Okay. So what happens is when you use the direct query mode, while loading the sales fact data here, right? So only the metadata of this table will get loaded here. Metadata. So what is metadata? Data about data. Metadata is nothing but data about the data. What do you mean by data about data? Guys, if I say, 152, if I ask you what is this, you will say 152. So what exactly 152? Is that a money, or is that a discount price, or is that a price of a product, or is that a quantity? You do not know, right? So this is a data. This is a data. You all agree with it, right? 150 is a data. Okay. But what data is that? Quantity. Even this one is also data. So this data gives me information about this data, right? Hence it is called metadata. So data about data. Okay, this quantity gives me context about what this value is all about. This concept. So only the metadata of this table get loaded. Only the structure will be loaded here. So something. How many of you guys using Swiggy app? Swiggy app. I don't know in your city Swiggy is available or are using it, right? Swiggy app is the food delivery app. Okay. So in this delivery app, if you go and select, each restaurant, you can see the menu item. Something like this, right? The menu. The metadata is kind of a menu here, okay? The table, what is the table name, and then what columns it has in it, that's all. The data will not get loaded in your Power BI desktop. Okay, only the menu will get loaded, which is nothing but the metadata will get loaded. So with the metadata, you can query the source system SQL Server table data, okay? So Power BI desktop, what it does is, when you load the data in direct query mode, it loads only the metadata. Okay, each time when when you select any specific column, when you run any query, right? Only that specific query will get, each time the Power BI will query your sales fact table that is available in the SQL Server. Okay. See, it's something like, right, you don't have money here. You don't, you don't have money. If you want money, right, whenever you need money, you can ask your parents and then you get the money from, right? But you don't, store the money. You don't store the money. All the money, whatever your parents have, you are not going to have it here, right? On a need basis, you are going to ask your parents and then get the money back. If you store all the money here, there could be chances, right? You might tend to lose your money, right? Someone may steal it. You just think that way, okay? So the direct query works that way, okay? What happens is on a need basis, it will send a query to the SQL Server database table, and then it query the data from here, and then the data will be sent back to your Power BI desktop. So this is, this one will, the first step is it will query the data from your SQL Server table, and then the output of this table will be sent back to the Power BI desktop. So now you might be asking this one, okay, in this case, if I request the step one, if my Power BI desktop, request 10 million records from this table, will this send back the 10 million records? If it sends the 10 million records here, again, it will take longer years. Hence, you need to be a bit diligent when it comes to huge volume data. Use the filters. Okay, you need to use the filter where that means don't select the entire data from this table. Select only the subset of the data. For example, you want to see the quantities more than 5, or you want to see year-wise sales breakdown. Okay, you started your business 4 years back, and so you have 4 years data available in this table. Query only the aggregated data. Do the sum here and then send the aggregated data back to my Power BI desktop. Okay, listen, as I told you, 4 years back when you started the business, right? So hence you have only 4 years data available here. Okay, 4 years data is available in your sales fact table. So what will happen is you are going to fire a query. So that query will find out the sum of sales, total sales you made in each year. Okay, they say 2000 now 24, 2023, and 2022, and 2021. Each year, what the total sales? So total sales is 108,561,5 something like that. It's 188,952 and 28,50,8. And so let's here we have 128 something. Okay, and here 2024. So now we are just May month, right? So let's you have something like So, right, so each year, what is the total sales we made? So in this case, when you ask this question, when the Power BI desktop asks this SQL Server table, how many number of records this table has to send it back to your Power BI desktop? Venkatesh, why don't you tell me this? So here the assumption is 4 years data, I have it here. The 4 years data volume comes around, there's, 90 million. Okay, let's assume 90 million records. Records in it, okay? 90 million records are there for the last 4 years in my sales fact table that is available in my SQL server. So your Power BI desktop, I'll just clean up a lot of lines are there, you will get them. So this is your Power BI desktop. We are creating a visual, a chart. Okay, in this chart, we have plotted the year in the x-axis, in the y-axis, we plotted sales. Okay, so what you are doing is in this case, these two data are available in a use table called sales fact. The data is available remotely in your SQL server. Okay, this table has 90 million records. Let's assume that, okay, more than that also available. But for the sake of something, I'm saying this one, okay. 90 million records are there. And 4 years, 90 million records consists of 4 years data, 2024, 2023, and 2022, 2021. Plus 2021 only started the business. Okay, last 4 years data you have it. That last 4 years data consists of 90 million records, that are available in this table. But in your Power BI report, you won't see the year-wise sales breakdown. Okay, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. So in that case, if you send a query to this one, because it's a direct query, so if you send a request, in the form of SQL query, that SQL query, will do the aggregation, to do the total by year in this, on top of this 90 million records. Okay, the query will be executed. The output of the query will be sent back here. How many number of records will be sent back to this one? Yes, you are correct, right? 4 records. Your sales breakdown by year, total sales breakdown by year. So what are the 4 records? 2021, 2022. Please, guy, concentrate here. Venkatesh, are you concentrating here? 2021 year, all the values, right? So it's 1.3 million, and here 2.6 million. It's here, 3.2 million. And it's here, 1.8 million. Because this year is not yet over. We are in the middle of the year, 1.8 million. So each record, it does the total, sorry, each year, it does the total sales, right? That is the requirement, the reporting requirement. So though you have 90 million records, the Power BI desktop will send a query to perform the total by each year. So this query will return only the 4 records. Even though you have the 90 million records, your query will send only the 4 records back to your Power BI desktop each value. Got it? Is it clear or not? It's something like you have a Swiggy app, right? And let's say you have a visitors. Many visitors, they visited your house. They want to give a surprise visit. Okay, let's say 100 visitors or relatives over the night. They came to your house. Do you think you have time to cook for all the 100 relatives? You don't have it, right? Let's say you are a Power BI. So what you are doing is you are sending a request to the hotel, restaurant, right, via the menu, right? It's kind of you are querying them. Okay. So in this restaurant, you are going to order it. And then what happens? Only for the 100 people, it's sent back. But this restaurant can produce as many items or food, as possible, because that has that much capacity. It has a big kitchen, guys. You think you can have, big kitchen in your house to prepare food for 100 relatives? No, right? But they have. Okay. So in that case, you are, instead of cooking at home, you are sending and ordering it. They send it back to your house. Okay, 100 items only they are sending. They are not sending all the items, all the foods, whatever they produce it to your home, right? Your requirement just 100. 100 you ordered, 100 foods, they are delivered. Okay, let the bigger kitchen be here. Is it clear or not, Venkatesh? Please be attentive, especially the non-IT guys, okay? Otherwise, if you keep, watching your Instagram or WhatsApp, you will not be able to understand. So in that case, even though my volume is very high, my query, performs the aggregation. It does the totaling, right? Each year, what the total says, you tell me that one. But it takes time because it has to find out the total for each year. Each year has so many millions of records. Fine, but all the processes are happening in my SQL server itself, and my output will have only 4 records. Sending the 4 records is much simple, right? It will not take much time, right? Instead, if you load the entire 90 million records in your local Power BI desktop system, what will happen? It takes a lot of time. Let the data be there wherever it is. On a need basis, I will query my source system table. But the query, whatever I send it, I'll make sure that I'm going to select only subset of the data, or I'm going to aggregate the data. So how my query is going to be, how many of you guys are familiar with SQL query? Even if you are not familiar with SQL query, please watch here. It's a plain English language. Okay, for example, select. This is a query, okay? The select right here, followed by the select, will specify the column. For example, here column, you want to return it, sum of sales. From, here something from clause, and here you need to specify the table name. In this case, the table name is sales fact. Okay, and then we need to use something called group by here. So this query, if I write it in, I can write it in one line, right? Sending a single query like this will not take much time through your internet. Let's say this is available on cloud. Sorry, cloud. Okay, this is available on cloud, right? The SQL service are available on cloud. Sending one line SQL query to the cloud, it doesn't require too much of network bandwidth. Am I correct? If you upload 5 GB data into cloud, it takes longer time, right? Instead, if I send just one query here, which is just one line query, it will not take much network bandwidth, right? It will be sent in a pretty fast manner. But this query will get executed in your SQL server. So this will take longer time. Okay, depends on the volume of the records. Okay, once it gets executed here, the output of the query, only 4 records will be sent back here. So sending a one-liner query and receiving only 4 records will not take longer time, right? Smartly, what Power BI desktop does is it generates the query, and in the case of direct query mode, and then that query will be sent to your source system SQL server. The output of the query will be sent back to Power BI. This is also called as a query folding. This is also called, query folding. It is an optimization technique, okay, to improve your query performance. The query folding is used, but that the direct query mode has some limitations, okay? It has lot of limitations, not some, lot of limitations. You cannot use the complex queries, and you can use you can use very you cannot perform complex transformation with direct query mode. It has a limitation. Also, you can use direct query only to the selective source system like SQL Server and Oracle and SAP. Likewise, only selected source system only you can use the direct query mode. For example, MySQL. How many of you heard about MySQL server? Facebook was using MySQL database in the past. Okay, they in almost 15 years back or so. Okay. Later on, they were grappling with a lot of issues with the MySQL server in terms of storing the volume of data, because they could see a sudden spike in their users. Now everybody uses Facebook, right? Since more number of users are accessing Facebook, accessing Facebook, right? So it requires huge, it generates huge amount of data. That to storing huge amount of data, it took longer time. Hence, they are using the sophisticated systems like Hadoop software and all. Okay, Hadoop offers distributed storage and the parallel computing. Okay, any of guys, don't worry about that, but make sure that you are going to learn till your death. Once you get into IT company, you'll more you learn, more salary you'll get. So that is the whole idea here. But here, sort of, Hadoop, right? Let the data be there wherever it is. And on a need basis, I will generate a query. That query will be sent to my source system. That query will get executed in my source system itself, and it will send the data back here. It's something like you are a manager, right? You are a manager. Let's, you need to create, let's, the customer, American customer give you 25 reports to create it. You think as a manager, you can create all the 25 reports in 4 to 5 days? No, right? What you are doing is you are going to give it to your team member. Listen, your team members are, if you are in Bangalore, the team members are sitting in Mumbai. Nowadays, remote management is also happening, right? You are sitting here, you cannot create all the 25 reports or 100 reports. What you're doing, your team, your developers are sitting in Mumbai office. There you have almost, 20 developers are there. What you do is you are assigning the task to them. Hey, you create the report. You don't have to come to Bangalore. You be there wherever you are. I will send the reporting requirements and I will delegate to the respective developers. Yeah, distribution of workload. Correct. Right? Yes, Sagar. Sagar, I could see that you joined. Good. So here, right? So here what happens is it sends a request remotely to this one that because the data is available here only, we are not loaded this data into my Power BI. So why we are not able to load this data here, Venkatesh? Venkatesh, why are we not able to load this data here? The sales fact table here. Venkatesh, type it quickly. I will ask each person the questions. Okay, and if you don't, non-IT people important. Okay, if you don't answer it, your process will be delayed. Okay. Why the the 90 million records we don't load it here? Because it's duplicate record, right? Already your 90 million records to store that, you need 2 terabytes odd disk, right? 2 TB odd disk. Again, you need to have 2 TB odd disk to store this data. Okay. So what we are doing is we are going to generate a query. The system, not we, in the direct query mode, Power BI desktop generates the query. That query will be sent here, and the response will be sent back here. So here the developer, the same story. Then Venkatesh, are you listening or what? Yeah. So here, yes, you are correct. We already have the data here. So why do I need to duplicate the data here? If I have to duplicate, download, something like downloading it here takes longer time. So guys, you watch movies in YouTube. You download the entire movie video and then watch it? No, right? Streaming. So that is what called as streaming, right? As and when the data read frame by frame in your video, you can watch the movie, right? You don't have to download them. Downloading the video takes longer time. Same idea here. Okay, so the Power BI desktop generates the query in the case of direct query, the direct query mode, and then the output of the query will be, so that query will get executed in the SQL Server source itself. The output of the query will be sent back to you. But that doesn't mean, right? Simply you select all the data. If you select star from this table, it has to return the 90 million reports. It literally slow down the performance. Okay. So hence, make sure that you are diligent in terms of using your visuals and everything. Okay. So what will happen? So in this case, you want to plot the 4 years total sales. So when you drag and drop these two columns, year column and sales column from your Power BI desktop sales fact table, right? So it will generate a query something like this. This query will be sent to your SQL server behind the scene. Then the query will get executed here. The output of the query will be sent back to your Power BI desktop is valid. I just show this one alone so that it will be persistent in your brain. Okay, for example, and the right side I can see the visualizations here, right? And here, okay, here I have the date available. Okay, date is some problem here. Okay, if you just click on is that yeah, date and very good. So what I am going to do is I'm going to select column chart. Then here the order date I will just drop it here. Hmm. Then I just move the sales sum up. Here the order date, right? It shows the day wise. Okay, and what I will do is here sum of sales sum up. What this one, sorry. Exactly. Okay, what I will do is I just go here quickly. Okay, here I don't have, right? Okay. So here the date is there and then sum of sales amount, right? So the moment when I drop the order date here and the sum of sales amount, what happens is behind the same, the Power BI desktop will generate the SQL query. That query has been sent here. The output of the query got output of the query in the sense what? Output of the query was the data, right? The data got sent back to the Power BI desktop. All I did was just drag and drop here, right? Just drag and drop the date column in the sales amount. But behind the scene, what happens? Since the data is not available locally, it sends that query to your SQL server, and then the output of the query will be sent back to here, right? So I just remove it. So I just drop it more than once. Actually, it should not accommodate the duplicate here, the small numbers. That is what is happening behind the scene. Okay, now the question is, how do I check, this Power BI desktop generates the query and then send it back to my SQL server? For that, this one may be little bit advanced, too early to discuss, but still I'll show you. You need to go to the view ribbon and then you have something like performance analyzer. Click on it. You can have selected the visual and start recording. Click on the start again. I selected this visual. I went to the view ribbon. In the view ribbon, you will find the performance and click on it. And this one will get open. Click on the start recording. And again, refresh visuals. Okay. One more time, I'm doing that. That's all. And I'm going to expand this one. Okay. You can see the DAX query. So how many milliseconds it took to display the data that we can see here. Okay. DAX query. So look at direct query. Can you see that? This visual used direct query mode. Okay, and then that means it sent a query to your SQL server. So to view that, you click on the copy query, then go to your notepad. So here I'm using notepad plus plus. I just clicked on the copy query. Watch my video and you practice it without fail, okay? Okay, can you all see that, guys? It generated the query, it puts so many things. Look here, select summarize column. This is a DAX query. And also you can see the select query here, right? Select order date, sum of sales sum of. This query got generated. This is the query got generated behind the scene in a matter of seconds, right? Yes, so sorry, right? This query generated automatically, and as soon as you drop the column into this table. So in this visual, right, behind this query got generated. That query has been sent to my SQL server. The output of the query, which means the SQL servers, right? The query got executed there. The output of that one got sent back to my Power BI desktop. Sorry to repeat this because I have non-IT people also there in this batch. So this is my visual, right? This is my visual. The order date and sum of sales sum. That query got generated. Okay. Step one, we created this visual. I just drag and drop these two columns. These two columns data are available in my SQL server, right? What happened is the query, it generated the, step two, Power BI generates the query. Power BI generates the SQL query. Then step three, this query sent to SQL server and it get executed there. It get executed there. Okay, and then step six, the query once it executes, it will produce the output, right? The data. That data will be sent to your visual. So you can also view it like a table visual. So currently it's a clustered column chart. I'm going to click on the table visual. You can see the data. There's all in this date how much sales we made. In this date how much. We have some blank record. Ignore that. So we can see that here, right? This is what direct query is all about. In the case of direct query, the data will not get loaded. Instead, the metadata only will get loaded. Okay. Okay. But if you click on the home ribbon and when you select the transform data and when you select the transform data, which is nothing but your Power Query data, there you can see the data. Then customer obviously should be able to see it because we have used the import mode. Even for this, you can see the data here. But the sales fact, we are not able to see it in my Power BI desktop, but in Power Query data, we can see the data here. You can see the data. Okay. And here, right, just after you select the sales fact table, in the left side, you can see the navigation on it. These two steps got generated automatically by Power Query data. Next to this, right, you can see the wheel icon. Click on the wheel icon, you will find the view native query. When you click on the view native query, you can see the query generated automatically behind the scene by the Power Query data. Did I write any SQL query? No, right? I generated this query in my SQL Server Management Studio. Not say it generated a query automatically here because it is a direct query mode. Okay, can I check the same thing here? Dim location here. And even here we can see the source in navigation. You click on the wheel icon here. When you click on the wheel icon, it opens this one, right? Okay, or when you right click on it, you can see view native query here. So even in this case, generates the query. Okay, import mode or direct query mode generates the query because it's a Power Query editor, right? The Power Query editor generates the query behind the scene. So query editor, it considers each and everything as a query. And what happens? It queries the data from either the local or the remote also. Okay. Now the question is, how do I know it's a direct query mode or something like that? Click on the source next to the source, right? You just click on it, right? Then this wheel icon. It is the SQL database. Look at 711. This is the SQL Server data, SQL Server name. This is the database name. In this database, we brought the data here. Okay. But when you click on this one, you will find this is an import. In both the case, import or direct query mode generates the query. Okay. Since the data is not available for the sales factor, this query has been sent to the, sorry, not this one. It should be right selected. So this query will be sent to your SQL server. And the output of this one will be sent back to your Power Query record here. That is what is happening. So what is query folding? Query folding is a technique, right? That is applied when you use direct query mode in Power BI. Okay. So again, the query folding is supported only by the few data sources or few transformation. Okay. What is the question? What are the Limitations of direct query in Power BI. Yeah. 1 second, sorry. Okay. See the limitation here with the the direct query mode is, or the query folding is, the direct query mode or query folding, you can use it only with the specific sources like SQL Server, Oracle, SAP, and all. Okay, you cannot use it for all type of databases, all type of source systems. Okay, not only database, we have some dataverse. Even in the case of dataverse, you have the two connectivity mode, import and direct query mode. Okay, and only a specific source systems you can use direct query mode. Okay. So, but the limitation here, to answer to your question, when you use the direct query mode, you can perform limited data transformations. What do you mean by limited data transformation? For example, let's say I want to rename this column. Okay, I just selected this one. Let's try all these things. Okay, selling price. Instead of this price, I'm going to change the rename it as selling price. Okay, that is working fine. And wait, here I just want to select the order date, and I wanted to I'm going to click on the add column here. I'm going to extract the year, month, date, or let's say before that I want to change the data type. Okay, I just want to change the date. I don't want to have the date, time, and all. Okay, time, hour, minute, and all. Okay, I did period. Okay, fine. And the next one is I'm going to extract only the year from this column. Yes, I was able to extract only the year from this order date column in direct query mode. That is possible. The next one is I'm going to extract the month. That is also possible. And next one is I'm going to select the order date, and here the date, right? Here I'm going to say the month, the name of month. Look here, when I selected the name of month, you can see that this step does not support in direct query. So in this case, date dot month name. This is the function. The built-in function is generally is used to extract the month name. So this is not possible with the direct query. So these are the limited, these are the limitations. Okay, you cannot extract the month name or day name. We have limitations. Okay, so how to overcome these limitations? You need to write some stored procedures in the source systems. Okay, we have different approaches. Okay, so to overcome these limitations, we have different approaches. Either you can create a stored procedure in a source system itself. All right, and then you can probably simplify data transformations. Okay, probably what it is, you create a view. Okay, view is an object like a table in SQL Server. View is an object. Okay, table is also an object in SQL Server. Like table, view is also an object. You can create a view. You can access the view. And then the view itself, you can extract the month name, in your SQL query itself. Okay, do everything in your SQL query itself, in your SQL Server, and then create a view. Simply, you can use it. This is a simple example, right? We are not able to extract the month name. If you click on this, it will get switched to import mode, but I don't want to switch to import mode because the sales fact table contains huge volume of data. If I click on this, it will load the entire data here. See, in our example, I just have 93 records, but guys, remember that in the real world scenario, the fact table, in most of the cases, it will have huge volume of data, except the aggregated fact table. Okay. So in that case, what will happen? It will take, it will load entire data. Don't do that mistake. Okay. Don't switch to import mode. So now we understood there is a limitation. What I'll do is I just go and revert this step. Just revert this step. Okay. That's all. I don't need this one here. Now I understood. So now I understood in this case, I need a month name here, but that is not possible. Okay, there is a limitation here. For example, I want to combine the order number and then the order date. I want to match, sorry, the year also, okay, the month, or else, for example, instead of that, right? 1 second. I'm going to unselect this one, and then year, and then month, these two columns I selected it, right? And here, I just want to merge these two columns. May combine these two columns, single column. Make sure your merge column, when you click on it, an option operator, I just put space, okay, merged. Look here, even to merge the columns, you have a limited, you cannot merge the columns. Text dot combine, combine these two columns, that is not possible in direct query. Merging the columns not possible, and extracting the name of the month from the year column was not possible. You have a lot of limitations here, okay? And then you have the data refresh options, okay? In the case of direct query mode, the one advantage is that you can fetch the data, it fetches the data in real time from your data source. Okay. And yeah, the security, when it comes to security and authentication, right? The data source need to be carefully managed. Okay. The report use, let's say you are the one developing the reports, or so in that case, you need to make sure that the necessary permissions are given to access the data directly from your SQL server or so. Okay. So the direct query mode is not suitable for complex queries or complex transformations. What do you mean by complex transformation? I want to merge these two columns into a single column. So merging the columns is not a complex transformation. Even for such a small transformation, it is not possible. Okay. And also you have a limited support for only certain data, so like Azure SQL database, Oracle, Teradata, and SAP. And only for these databases, you can use direct query mode. And right, so obviously, right, you will have a reduced query folding support in that case. Okay. Look here, in this case, inserted image column. If you click on this, right click on it, and when you see here, the view native query is not there, right? Because when I try to make these two columns, I'm getting this warning message, and then, but this step got inserted here. Okay, and then when I right click on it, view native query is missing here. This got disabled. That means with that itself, you can understand that the query folding is not possible. Query folding is nothing but generate the SQL query. That query will be, the generated SQL will be sent to your SQL server. But in this case, the query itself not generated because merging was not possible here. So in that case, in the intro, they'll ask you, how do you overcome these limitations? First, they'll ask you, what are the limitations that are there in direct query mode? Okay, and what kind of scenario you can use direct query? If the data volume is too huge, then I can use direct query mode. But if the data transformations are a bit complex, then direct query mode is not going to help me. So in that case, direct query mode was not helpful. Instead, what you can do is you can push as much logic as possible to your data source using your native queries. What do you mean by native queries? You saw the queries. You can write the query here itself. Okay. And then the output of the query, you can store it in some other temporary table. That table you can use it there. See here, I extract the month name here. Okay, extract month name. You have month function is available. Date add some function is available. Date or date to month. Okay. So using which you can extract the month from this table, and then you store the query into a, or you can create a view, or you copy this the table's output in another temporary table. That table consists of the month name, day name, everything. So in that case, you can use that temporary table here. Okay, temporary table or the view. Okay, view is kind of a pointer to your table. So that we'll see it later. So now what I do is I just go and undo this step that I carried out. What step that I carried out? I just try to combine these two columns into a single column. So what I did, right? See bin location. So I selected these two columns. If you want to merge these two columns, if you click on the merge columns, it will work in the case of import mode. So for example, if I click on the space here, merged, look here, new column got created. In this column, I have the combination of the location key as well as the city name. This is possible in the case of import mode, but the same is not possible in direct mode. Then why the hell should I use direct coding mode? Because the advantage is already discussed, right? You cannot, import the entire data in your local system because it has huge volume of data. But it has limitations. What can I do? How can I see in that case, right? Better don't use, the direct query mode. Instead, what you do is, or you can use direct query mode, but you need to create some other alternate table or temporary table or views in the source system database itself. That view should have the month name, day name, do all the transformation as part of your views SQL query itself. Then you can use that view here. Okay. Here you will find the views, and in this case, I just right click on it, new view. I just say, yeah, what I'll do is I'll create a sales fact table. I create a view on the sales fact table. Wait, no, sorry, here this is not required. Remove, okay, and then I just select on the product ID, customer ID, all the things. I'm going to select everything, and then it's a duplicate of everything, okay. But the view will not store. The view does not require additional storage space. Okay, it generated the SQL query everything right, and then when I click on the cross here, it will ask me. So save changes to the following items. 7 Okay, so here I just click on no here, and then here I just refresh it here. Okay, it is not happening. System views, we don't have to see it. 1 second. I just okay, I did not save it, right? Okay. So I right click on it, new view. I want to create a view on this table. It's kind of view is kind of a temporary, okay, temporary thing. But right, I just click on the add. I just close it here, product ID. So I'm going to select all the columns from the sales fact table. This concept, these 3 columns not required. Look here, this query consists of all the columns except the F12, F13, F14. Fine. And I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to say yes. The view name. Now it asks the view name. So what I'll do is I'll just say sales fact. View part. Anyhow, that view creation I'll show you later. Okay. And there is an issue here. Second, I'll just go here. Right. You will try, give it a try one more time. Otherwise, you'll skip it. Okay. I'll just say add. And here, all columns. Simply, instead of selecting each and everything, right? I'll select star from sales fact table. Okay, and then I'm going to save this one. Save here, but here I just say view one. Let's see copy menu. Object will not set to the instance of object is good. Copy menu show details. Okay, this is another issue. Anyhow, I don't want to